This video is to show a project I've been meaning to do for many years but never seemed to get around to. It's a restoration of a 1950s audio recorder before tape recorders existed. I've had it since I was a teenager. A family friend gave it to me. At the time, over 40 years ago, I got it working using a dynamic microphone, both a microphone and a loudspeaker. But since I moved out of my parents' house, it has not been switched on. Oops, it records on a coated magnetic disc, just paper, and it looks very much like a record player, a turntable, and it has in fact got a tracking stylus under the arm. You can see somewhere under there, but also a magnetic head at the end of the arm. There's the head, like a tape head. The recording discs are literally just paper. It's actually intended as a dictaphone for recording voice memos or sending voice messages. The original idea, looking at the lines on these, is that they can be folded up and put in the post. They locate on a fixed pin to maintain the tracking, and the spiral disc also locates to the pin so everything stays in sync. And the stylus on the arm tracks on the little Bakelite disc, and that keeps the tape head moving in a spiral as the turntable turns. As I say, it's not been powered up for 40 years or so. So I'm going to do some tests on it first and repolarize the capacitors. In fact, no, I'll take that off because I want to show the underside. When I got it, there were no accessories whatsoever, and the microphone socket was broken. I put a DIN audio socket in it for convenience, as that happened to fit the original mounting hole, so I didn't have to modify anything other than resoldering the wires. The arm goes in a little spring clip. Oops, sorry. The arm goes in a little spring clip for transport, and the accessories are supposed to fit inside the lid, presumably. Although, looking online at some of the museum articles that got these, there are also various optional accessories. The case, as you can see, is some kind of almost like tortoiseshell pattern Bakelite. The scratch looks bad, but it's actually cosmetic. You can't feel it. It's just affecting the polish, the surface. It is a valve or tube based unit, of course, at that age. Again, this is the first time the cover's been off in 40 years. As you can tell by the dust and accumulation of stuff. The mechanism is very much like a record player, a little induction motor, and that drives a rubber wheel under the turntable, which in turn runs on the inside of the turntable, just like a lot of basic record players. 3 valves. Notice that capacitor has got rather a dent in it. No idea why. There's no obvious reason for that. Could have been there for 50 years, 70 years ever since it was manufactured. It's built for easy service. You can see the motor or turntable wires are actually on a little Jones plug. And that's Socket's not even fitted quite right, but again, that's going to be original. Three what appear to be octal base valves. I'm guessing there's, I don't know which the rectifier is. We should have a valve rectifier at that age rather than semiconductor. You can see the printing still on the valves. So I've acquired some vintage original Jones connectors from eBay, some salvage and some new old stock type. As you can see, the original crackle finish ones are very similar to these. Looking at pictures, the microphone and power connector should really be right angle ones. I'm trying to get some of those at the moment. I don't think this would comply with current safety regulations somehow, as the microphone and power connectors, so 230 volt or 115 volt in, and the handheld microphone would directly connect to each other. So that's right, looks like I actually soldered a wire on there because I didn't have a connector, but that will clean off easily. It's just a trace of solder on the pin. So that is the mains input connector for high voltage. The microphone connector was a similar socket to take a plug like that. And if you have a 4-pin Jones plug and socket with no keying pins, which these don't have, then you could plug the microphone into the mains cable. I think they assumed back then that people had got more common sense than to do things like that. Anyway, that's the intro, and I'll start on the detail work on the next video.